HowExpert Top 10 Rene Descartes Fun Facts and Lessons. Number 10. Descartes was born in 1596 in the town of Le Haye-en-Touraine, now called Descartes, France. Descartes, France is around 48 kilometers east of the French department of Vendée border, and this region is almost 50 kilometers shy of the center of France. Fun fact, this is the same town where Vincent van Gogh was born in 1853. So next time you're in France, check out the birthplace of one of the most famous philosophers and scientists of all time. Number 9. Descartes' father was a minor nobleman, and his mother was a devout Catholic. He was the son of Joachim Descartes, a magistrate of the Parliament of Brittany, and his wife, Jeanne Brouchard. His mother homeschooled Descartes before receiving a Jesuit education. Although he was educated by his religious mother and at a Jesuit school, he later repudiated the Jesuits and all other forms of organized religion. Descartes' father died in 1610 and his mother in 1614. Number 8. He was educated at the Jesuit College of La Flèche, where he studied mathematics and philosophy. Jesuit College of La Flèche is an institution of higher education in France, and it was founded in 1604 by King Henry IV, and is the second oldest Jesuit college in the world. La Flèche is a small private school that enrolls approximately 1,200 students. Number 7. In 1619, Descartes traveled to the Dutch Republic, where he spent the next 20 years working on his philosophical and scientific theories. The Dutch Republic was a place where new ideas were welcomed and tolerated. Descartes met with some of the leading scientists and philosophers of the time. Descartes developed his thoughts about mathematics, science, and philosophy in the Dutch Republic. Descartes also met with the leading philosophical thinker of the time, Hugo Grotius. Grotius was a leading political thinker who developed the idea of natural rights of humans. Descartes learned from Grotius about the importance of the rule of law in society. Number 6. Descartes was a gifted mathematician and developed a new system of mathematics called Cartesian Geometry. Our Cartesian coordinate system is a mathematical system used to describe points in a plane or a three-dimensional space. It uses a set of two perpendicular lines, called axes, to define a coordinate space. Each point in the coordinate space is determined by its distance from the axes and its angle relative to the axes. The coordinate space can be considered a grid, and each point having a unique coordinate. The axes are typically labeled with positive and negative numbers or letters and numbers. The coordinate space can be two-dimensional, like a piece of paper, or three-dimensional, like the space inside a box. Descartes developed the Cartesian coordinate system in 1637, named after him because he was the first to publish a description of it. He is also said to have invented the Cartesian two-dimensional coordinate plane. Number 5. He is also credited with being the first to develop a consistent mathematical formula of the optics theory. Optics theory studies the properties of light and how it behaves when it passes through different materials. It's used to design optical instruments, such as microscopes and telescopes, and to improve the performance of optical devices such as cameras and eyeglasses. Optics theory is a complex subject, but the basic principles are pretty simple. Light is a type of energy that travels in waves, and the wavelength of the light wave is determined by its frequency. The higher the frequency, the shorter the wavelength. Number 4. In 1637, Descartes published his most famous work, Meditations on First Philosophy, arguing that the only thing that can be known is that he exists. In Meditation on First Philosophy, Descartes set out to build a foundation for knowledge that is free from doubt. The work is a series of 6 meditations in which Descartes contemplates the nature of the human mind, the existence of God, and the difference between the mind and the body. He does this by examining the most basic ideas we can think of and determining whether they can be doubted. In the first essay, Descartes argues that the only thing that can be known is that he exists. He then uses this principle to prove the existence of God. Descartes argues that the human mind is not part of the physical world and that it's possible to know the truths of mathematics and physics without relying on the senses. In the 4th and 5th essays, Descartes considers the implications of these arguments for the nature of reality and the existence of evil. In the 6th and final essay, Descartes argues that the presence of God provides a basis for the hope of immortality. Meditations on First Philosophy is one of the most essential works in the history of philosophy. and it continues to be studied and debated by philosophers to this day. Number 3, he was famous for saying, "I think, therefore I am." This statement, famously made by Rene Descartes, is one of the most well-known expressions of philosophical thought. It's often used to refer to the idea that humans can think and therefore must exist, as opposed to other animals who cannot believe and therefore considered less critical. However, the phrase can be interpreted in several different ways. For example, the statement could be said to be about the existence of the self or the ability to reason and understand the world around us. It could also be interpreted as a statement about the presence of God or about the nature of the human mind. Although there is no definitive interpretation of this phrase, it's still a critical statement about philosophical thought and how we think about the world. Number 2, despite being a brilliant thinker, Descartes was not a very successful businessman. He could not make a lot of money with his ideas, and he died in poverty. This is mostly because he did not market his ideas very well, and he was, unfortunately, not very good at dealing with people. Number 1, Descartes never completed his law degree, instead turning to philosophy. Rene Descartes, one of the most influential thinkers of the 17th century, never completed his law degree. Some say this is because he was expelled from school for engaging in a duel. However, others suggest that he may have left prematurely because he realized he was better suited for philosophical inquiry than law practice. Imagine, we wouldn't have a father of modern philosophy if he did finish that degree. If you liked our video, be sure to like and subscribe for more HowExpert Top 10 videos for all topics from A to Z in the future. Thank you, have an amazing day, and take care. HowExpert publishes quick how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit howexpert.com to learn more.